Hi, this is John with Computer Pro once again, and I'm doing another review. Actually, I guess more quickly than I normally once every year or so. But I wanted to do this one, especially with Windows 10 having come out, and I wanted to tell you folks my experiences with it. I'm going to tag this, especially with the Lenovo, because I just spent some time with a Lenovo ThinkPad W540. I had some really bad experiences with it. I'm going to talk about that a lot in my discussion, as well as what I did with the Dell laptop I had here. Um, first, the Lenovo is over there making some sound. Okay, I had a customer who needed, who was having issues with this Lenovo. It was booting up. It was on Windows 8.1 and saying the NVR couldn't find it. So I took it out and tested the drive, and the drive was basically corrupted. It wasn't showing a data file structure. It was showing some stuff, but it wasn't showing what it should have. And I told him we needed to replace it. Fortunately, this gentleman mostly uses Apples. He's in some kind of video development, and he didn't need anything on there, so he said just install it. Just go over and install it, which I did, and I got it up to 8.1. And then I decided to ask him, hey, you want me to upgrade it to 10? 10's available. This is September 9th, 2015. 10's been out for over a month. And he said, yeah, go ahead and do it. It's free. You can go ahead and do it. Well, I did it. Really didn't have any issues. I installed my normal suite of software that I give people for free malware bytes, Avast, which I'm not using anymore. If you look at my other post, you'll see why. Like I said, the malware bytes, super anti-spyware, and the C cleaner. Along with a PDF viewer. Um, I took it back to him, didn't think there were any issues. Then he called me up and told me that the battery wasn't charging. I went down there again and looked to his office and looked at it and saw that he was correct. I brought I thought maybe he just hadn't plugged in the power cord correctly, but I did bring another power cord, and it still wouldn't do it. I brought it back, and in my office I played with it for a little bit, and then I took out the battery and reseated it in to its slot because I had taken it out originally. Obviously, it's one of the things you do when you open up a computer. I had to take out, replace the hard drive, so I had done that, and it started working. Did it 3 or 4 times. Contacted him, said, "Hey, I'll bring it back tomorrow." A couple hours later, I come back and look at it again. It's it's acting weird. Well, I read this article about how Lenovo's have a power management program, and sometimes the laptop only charges to 60%, and then it stops. And this is what had happened. It didn't say it was on the battery, but it didn't say it was charging either. It had stopped charging. When I unplugged it and plugged it back in, then it wasn't charging anymore at all as far as the power cord went. There were some changes you had to make, but they were only showing for Windows 8.1. So, I mean, I pulled out the battery at one point and powered it up just on the power cord, so I knew the outlet was working. I mean, the battery was holding it charged because I had used it for quite a while when I put Windows 8 and then layered Windows 10 over it. So finally, I just gave up and I decided to roll it back to 8.1. And that really didn't take too long. It only took like 15 or 20 minutes, considering on one computer that I did an upgrade, I had another gentleman who was over at Best Buy and bought what he thought was a Windows 10 computer and it had 8.1. I had to upgrade it for him. It took over an hour. This was an i7. This Lenovo was an i7 with 16 gigs of RAM in it, and it ran very squirrely on Windows 10. It was very slow. So, I mean, I've been reading these reviews about Windows 10, but I'm just not seeing it. And especially if you have a Lenovo, a ThinkPad that has the power management program, that has anything like that, some kind of driver you have to install like that, you're just better off not using it at all because right now Lenovo is not playing well with Windows 10. Now, that being said, I had a Dell Inspiron laptop, one that's about 3 years old. It has an i5 processor in it, and it had 8 gigs of RAM, and I had a 256 gig solid state drive. And it originally came with Windows 7 Professional, and I upgraded it. I did a clean install of Windows 7 and then upgraded it to Windows 10 and put the programs on it I wanted. And it's been fine. No battery issues, nothing. This is something that's really systemic with Lenovo. They've apparently not really prepared themselves really well for the Windows 10 rollout as far as the upgrade process goes. I'm sure with maybe some of the newer programs they have, but I even went in and looked for the power management program for Windows 10. Uh, it listed it on the Lenovo website as this is the power management program you use. When you looked at it, it said it was for Windows 7 and Windows 8 and Windows 8.1. But once I downgraded this Lenovo to Windows 8.1, it works fine. And the power management program isn't locking it out at 60%. It's charging right now, and it's working fine. So I got to tell, I mean, Lenovo used to be part of IBM, and they were spun off into a separate company, and now they're owned by a Chinese company. Well, Lenovo. I don't know who Lenovo is owned by, but I don't like their computers. They're kind of junky, and if you use, it's like when you go to the mouse pad, you know how most mouse pads have three buttons. They have the main pad where you move the mouse around, and they have a right click and a left click button. Well, on this particular, at least on this ThinkPad, which is like I said, a W540, the mouse there's the pad, not the second, third button. You press down in the lower left and the lower right to get it to and click on it, but that makes the whole mouse kind of move. Now one thing I noticed, whether it's Windows 8 or Windows 8.1, is that this just doesn't work real well. It's not a very functional feature. And even the gentleman who owns this W540 uses a mouse. I mean, a lot of people use mice because they don't like the pad anyway, but this one, the pad just doesn't work. It's really a design flaw or failure, whatever you want to call it. So again, Lenovo with the power management program does not work well with Windows 10. If you've got Windows 8, 8.1, 7, I would strongly advise not upgrading right now until they've done something. I mean, I'd wait 6 months to a year. I've got it on my Dell, for this Dell that I acquired. It's working fine. I have it on there mostly, you know, to get to know better. I beta tested Windows 10. I had an RC of Windows 10, and now I've got this. And obviously because of the type of business I'm in and the type of work I do, you want to keep it and have it to on a computer so you know what you're doing when people have issues. But I just haven't been real happy. I've heard really good reviews about Windows 10, but I mean, it's okay. I just haven't seen it, especially some of the security features when they're giving out your Wi-Fi passwords and things like that. And there's more. There's some articles out there about how they're putting more features in there where they're tracking you, and that's not really a great feature either. Of course, the tracking features they have run updates to Windows 7 Windows 8, where those same features that they installed on Windows 10 are now on Windows 8 and Windows 7. So I may try and put a link if I can find it below to that where you can remove those if anybody's knows how to remove those update. Uh, if you know how to do those on your own. But other than that, I may do another quick post on how to remove the Windows 10 icon to upgrade and how to remove those features. But right now, this is primarily about the Lenovo. That's it for today. Have a great rest of your week.